Local news with Air Park Canterbury, 2 locations, Logistics Drive and off Russley Road.
Well, former Christchurch City Councillor and current Community Board member Ali Jones has decided to stand for council again. Why would she want to? Let's find out. Ali Jones is with me now. Hello to you, nice to see you.
Hi Chris, good to see you too.
Why have you decided that you want another go at council?
Because I want to make a difference, and a lot of people have been asking me to run, actually. I am really concerned about the rates in the city, across the city. It is becoming unaffordable for people, and I'm the sort of person that if I am unhappy with something or I think something could or should change, then I try to do that. And I really can't do that from around the community board table. So that's it in a nutshell.
You could, though, face similar problems to that of Phil Major, where he tried really hard to campaign on decreasing or reducing rates, but in some respects he was hamstrung by other councillors who didn't support that necessity, actually.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that's why this election is really important insofar as people need to understand that they have to vote for people who want, if, for example, the rates, keeping rates down is residents and constituents' main concern, they need to vote for people who put that in as part of their campaign, as a platform of part of what they're campaigning for. There is no point in expecting rates to go down if you do not have the number of people around the table who can action that. And my commitment is to do that. I know there are others and will be others who will commit for the same thing or to the same thing, and I encourage people to support those people standing. In
your press release, you speak about speed bumps. Give me more information on that. Not a fan?
Well, look, I was going to say I think there are places for them, but I can't really think of any except for outside schools and areas where there are children and it is a pretty straight road. You know, I'm thinking of Heaton Street's an example there, but, you know, that's a 24/7 speed bump and school is not in 24/7, so that really needs to be addressed. But, you know, at the moment it seems to be a default. I don't understand it. You know, we've got a speed bump going in on McFadden's Road, for goodness sake, in front of a pedestrian crossing where speed is not the issue. You know, why would you use speed bumps for something that isn't about speed? So I think they seem to be a one-size-fits-all default answer to a number of problems, and I think that we need to think more innovatively and outside the box, and until we do, we're going to keep getting the same problems.
You say in your press release that whacking in speed bumps, putting in bus lanes which add to traffic congestion and driver frustration, and relying on cycle lanes to sort the whole mess out is blinkered, and more importantly, it's not helping anyone. Why? Why is it not helping anyone, do you think?
Look at Cranford Street. That's a perfect example. You know, we've just put in a full-time bus lane down there, and the bus lane has been in for 3 years in a trial and not achieved anything. We've had an increase in congestion, and I'm really worried about the safety of kids down there. It's right near our school. We need to think about other ways of doing things. There are things that a number of people have raised in discussions with staff members and at meetings, and invariably the answer we get is, that's going to take too long, or we have to speak to NZTA about that, or we have to run a full trial for that. I mean, we have to start being innovative and doing things that will make a difference. At the moment, we keep sticking the same plaster on the same sore and it falls off all the time, and we need to be doing things differently.
So if you get into council, would you be advocating strongly to staff saying, people don't want speed bumps? Now, I did a survey on my page, given the fact it's not scientific, and there were thousands and thousands of people who voted in Christchurch, and they said they didn't want them. It was not warranted. Not all, but the majority said that. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm very wary about getting down in the weeds into operational issues with staff. You know, they are the experts. They do know what they are doing. I think they are actioning what has been expected of them previously, I think through policy, either through local government policy or even Christchurch City Council policy, possibly as directed mainly, I think, from the last government potentially. So I think we as councillors need to say we want people to be able to get places effectively. We need emergency vehicles to be able to move around safely and not be bouncing people around. And we need to look at the evidence of what these things are actually achieving or not. So I wouldn't be directing staff, and I don't think anyone should direct them, perhaps other than a majority on council, perhaps, certainly not individual councillors. But I think that we need to start looking, as I said, at other ways of doing things. I've just come back from a few weeks in Australia, and okay, you've got to be really careful comparing with other countries. They are so different. Australia's massive. You've got extremely long roads there as well. But one thing I did notice, far fewer traffic lights, a lot more roundabouts, which we've got rid of here because of what I've heard is apparently it's more difficult for cyclists. But man, they work well. They slow the traffic down, give way to the traffic that's coming, on your left or your right. I can't remember now which one it is. It's a while since I've been behind the wheel. But I did drive in Sydney, and I found that the flow was better, and that was a combination of the phasing being better and also very clear signage. You knew where you were speed-wise instead of 30 here, 40 there, 60 here, 50. I mean, that's just nuts. I actually think that the whole transport policy and the transport issues that we're dealing with in Christchurch need to be completely reviewed and soon, because it's costing a lot of money. I don't think it's achieving what it's supposed to achieve, and both those things are really pretty much a waste of time, aren't they?
I can hear your critics already probably saying now, Ali Jones doesn't like these speed bumps and doesn't like this. She's anti-safety. That's the first thing they'll accuse you of. What is your response to that? I can almost read their minds, what they're going to say now. Ali Jones doesn't like cyclists. She's doesn't care about the environment, nor does she care about the safety of kids. That's the usual line that is spouted. Are they wrong?
No, I'm not even going to go into that, Chris. You can't waste your time and that sort of rhetoric, honestly. All I want to do is for people to have respectful, intelligent conversations. This doesn't have to be an argument. It doesn't need to be, slinging muck or calling people names or anything like that. We need to get around a table with a bit of common sense, the like-mindedness of a number of people with some common sense, and start making some decisions that work for as many people as possible. I'm just going to focus on, being a strong advocate for the ward. Our community deserves someone to be able to have a strong voice around that table, advocating for low rates. Who can afford the rates now? Low rates, sensible spending, because that's out of control as well, our debt repayment levels, and getting the basics done properly. I think those are the main things, and that's what I'm going to be working on, and trying to not listen to some of the other stuff.
The people that complained for the sake of it. Just before I let you go, so far the mayoralty races apparently between Phil Major and Sarah Templeton. Could you work with both candidates?
I know what I'm supposed to say here. Look, I've really enjoyed working with Phil. He's actually, with some of the infrastructural issues we've had in St Albans, he's great at drawing on the back of an envelope or on the, a napkin and going, well, it can't happen this way or it should happen this way. He's really good at getting down to the nub of an issue and speaking very plainly. And also he's a good team player. He pulls everyone together. I have been in the council chambers when Sarah has been there, and I just find her manner a little abrupt. She and I have had some exchanges, and I'd work with her through gritted teeth, perhaps. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but that's really how I feel.
I think people probably appreciate honesty at the end of the day. Ali Jones, I wish you well, and nice to see you again. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Chris. Really appreciate it.